Trialz with Scott Wiley.
Fun. I think where we found our place in the continuum of care is we're doing a lot with smart equipment, and so that's allowing us to reduce the friction of working out. And so when we have these broad-based interventions that historically were just viewed as fitness, like, okay, great, my doctor's telling me to work out, what does that mean? You would still see the same rate of attrition that you would if someone was just sort of interested in fitness and come out, right? But now we have these machines that sort of operate like a Mercedes, where you get on the machine, it tells you what to do. So if you're kind of intimidated, you're getting instruction that's fairly intimate. For the most part, the machine is adjusting to you, and then it tells you where to go. And so especially in the aging well population, folks that historically would get a membership and then never come in, we're really starting to move the needle with regards to fall prevention, things like Parkinson's, things where we know fitness is a good mediator with regards to, lowering disease, so hypertension and diabetes and things of that nature. So that's where it's getting really fun.
So it sounds like the opposite model of a traditional gym, where essentially you want to sell as many memberships as possible and hope that nobody comes in.
Yeah, that's right. We call it low cost, high volume.
And it's good, speaking from as somebody who worked at a gym for several years, it's also good when people are intimidated, because then you send the personal trainers out like sharks, and it's easier to convince someone who's already overwhelmed and intimidated to pay more for somebody to give them training sessions, which the gym, at least at my gym, took most of that money from the trainers. So it sounds like it's the opposite, where you're kind of trying to reduce the barriers that prevent people from forming healthy habits and being active.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think, creating habitual behavior, we're finding is super important, right? Because once you make it part of the routine, and it's sort of, there's a rich understanding of what's happening, then you're more likely to stick with it, especially if you have some sort of intrinsic motivation. If it was prescribed, and you can get people into the gym, it's sort of a 1-2 punch.
Awesome. And I understand you're working on a book, or you have a book coming out soon.
Yeah, so that's back on the behavioral science side. I've been studying the science of fun, so kind of we're switching gears a little bit, but I've been really interested in how Westerners pursue happiness, and there's been a lot of research as of late that suggests that people that are overly concerned about happiness, and I fell in that category, tend to be less happy, and I also fell in that category. Like, the more I chased happiness, the less happy I was becoming, and I got really interested why that was. And so I unpacked that a little bit. The book's called The Fun Habit. And so, if you can't kind of chase happiness, then how can you, at least stack the deck in your favor? And I found that if you mindfully, in the present, kind of, want to have fun, then that's a great way, because now you're indexing things as a leading indicator rather than sort of, this lagging indicator of happiness where it's full of introspection and you're not really moving the needle. And what happens, in the former is that you kind of perseverate on, okay, I'm at point A and here's point B where I want to be, and all you think about is the gap. But if you change it to this action bias, right, which I call fun, then you're always just kind of happy, and you sort of forget about worrying about it, and you just live a joyful life.